Hi, I'm Stephen.
Pressing the flesh in Mackay,
I used to be a big fan of the finger bun though as a kid.
a shopping centre visit to meet the masses, some with messages of their own.
Get a picture Bruce Highway? Yeah, we need to do more on the Bruce Highway.
An opportunity to get his boots polished
I'm just glad I wore the socks without the holes in them.
and to polish his pitch.
This election is all about who can tackle the cost of living and who has a plan for our state's future, and our cheaper energy plan does both of those things.
Stephen Miles is promising to create a new publicly owned energy retailer in Queensland if Labor is re-elected.
We've listened to Queenslanders, particularly regional Queenslanders, who've said that they want a choice.
Government-owned entity Ergon Energy is the main retailer for regional Queensland. Labor wants to set up a second state-owned body, which it says would compete against it, as well as with the private sector in the southeast. It would be up and running within 12 months at a cost of $1.4 million.
We won't be seeking the 6% margin that other retailers can claim under the national rules. We won't be seeking that, and so it's just going to put more competition in the market.
Frith Peterson runs a health and welfare business in Rockhampton. She says she's cut right back on power usage, yet her power bill hasn't changed since last year.
I've only turned the aircon on recently because we're trying to keep the cost down, because I guess the price per kilowatt is going up.
She's a fan of any measure to reduce bills.
Having like a monopoly is, a difficult thing because you can't make a choice.
But the state's peak business body is scathing.
It's policy on the fly. It has the potential to be anti-competitive, to not bring prices down and to not deal with the issue, which is the cost of energy.
The LNP also unconvinced.
He talks about setting up a competition in the retail market when he already owns, as a state government, retailing outlets.
This economist says there may be a moderate price reduction in regional areas, but the broader impact is uncertain.
It's a small step. We shouldn't be overstating and expecting a lot from it, but it's one step away from the failed model we've been stuck with for the last 20 or 30 years.
This is the second time Labor's announced a policy to set up publicly owned initiatives. 2 months ago, it announced if re-elected, it would open a dozen state-owned fuel stations, a move that was criticised by some industry groups as being risky. Both leaders have this afternoon moved to Rockhampton. They'll spend the night here in the beef capital, but there's little chance of catching up for a beer.
I'm busy. I've got to get ready for the debate tomorrow.
Cheers to that. Kate McKenna, ABC News, Rockhampton.
Well, let's go to Rockhampton now, where Alex Brewster is travelling with the LNP leader David Crisafulli. Alex, what's he had to say today?
Jess, Mr Crisafulli has pledged to build a $95 million health and science training facility if elected. It's designed to act as a pathway for school students in becoming health practitioners. It's aimed at students in years 10, 11 and 12 and will be built on state-owned land in Rockhampton with a view that students who train there end up working in the region. Health is one of the key issues that Mr Crisafulli is campaigning on, in addition to youth crime and the cost of living. But he was in Brisbane this morning, where at an AgForce conference he announced a $30 million agricultural innovation hub for research and development.
And Alex, there's been a boost for the LNP from the minor parties today. Can you explain what's happened?
Jess, that's right. Katter's Australian Party, which has 4 elected MPs, says Labor hasn't been tough enough on youth crime. Robbie Katter is urging supporters in 3 crucial Townsville seats not to preference Labor. Now, that could be crucial, with over 40% of KAP preferences in those 3 seats flowing to Labor at the last election. Now, less surprising is One Nation, which has taken aim at Labor and the Greens today. Let's take a listen.
We feel this election, it's time to send a signal to the market. They've had 9 years there. We're still crying out for help here. So in Townsville, we're going to preference against Labor for the first time, that we'll be preferencing against anyone.
Considering what I've seen and worked with on the floor of Parliament, with the Greens and the Labor working together, this country is in one hell of a mess. We cannot afford that to happen in Queensland.
Now both Premier Stephen Miles and David Crisafulli will return to Brisbane tomorrow, where they'll face off tomorrow night in the first of 3 debates ahead of polling day on October 26, Jess.
Alex Brewster, thank you.